prints and pet notes that we have. So we have some of our pieces here. I don't know how much you're going to be able to see them, but we also do have a couple of video links, and then we have links to our brochures. I was listening to your last meeting, and you talked about one of the things that was mentioned a couple of different times was that people talk about their pets, but not only just dogs and cats, but dogs and cats tend to be the focus. So one of the things I wanted to point out to all your members is on the back of our brochure, we actually do show pictures of bunnies and birds and iguanas, and we have done all kinds of different imprints onto our jewelry. We've done horse hooves, we've had pet pig snouts, all kinds of different things. So we can go ahead and take all of that, either have it cast onto our jewelry, or we can have it lasered on. So we do the two different methods. So the cast, you're actually going to feel the imprint. But with the lasering, it just goes on really quickly. So we do that a lot, and we call that our fast touch. So it gets the piece of the keepsake into the customer's hands much quicker, but it's just lasered on. It doesn't have the feel that the casting does. So it's kind of a different preference depending upon what your customer is looking for. But there's rings, and there's dog tags, and there's necklaces and bracelets and knives. And we are launching our cigar cutter, which will be coming out in a couple of weeks. We have lighters, we have keychain pocket knives. So we have all kinds of different things. So I would encourage you to go ahead and take a look at all the brochures and information that Patty's going to pass along to you. And certainly if you have any questions, you can reach out to Jen or myself, and we'll be happy to help you however we can.
Thanks. Thanks, Susan, for that. As Susan mentioned, we do have a resource page for all of this information, which will be, it's actually already up there. And Dan Beavers from our office is going to unveil our new pet business page a little bit later. So those resources are there as well. So you'll have access to that, and also referenced in the follow-up email. So thank you again for supporting this group, and for just the support you provide to selected members in general. We appreciate you guys at Thumbies. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like to turn it over to our moderator, Rick Harris. Thank you, Rick, for stepping up to moderate this call. Rick is the COO and funeral director at Paul W. Harris Funeral Home and Pets at Peace. Their firm has been a member of Selected since 1996. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Rick, who's going to pose some questions and get this conversation started.
Thanks, Patty. Appreciate it. First, welcome everybody. Glad to be here. Good to see all your faces. It's been a wonky year and a half and what have you. So good to see everyone. I like the fact that we have a smaller group. There could be a lot of interactions and a lot of questions, so we can really dive into a lot of different areas. Just want to share with you about who I am and what we do. We started our funeral home in 1946, so we just did our 75th anniversary. In 2008 or so, we had some family dogs. One of my dogs and was not doing so well. You kind of go through the motions of, who's going to care for your pet. This is all kind of common with a lot of funeral homes that we're hearing. And, you know a little too much about what happens on the back end. So you start asking some questions to these doctors and vet techs, and ultimately the answers you get back are quite horrendous. So in 2009, we did a little research and we opened up Pets at Peace. We co-branded it with our funeral home. So you'll see a lot of things of Pets at Peace by Harris Funeral Home. And right off the bat, the goal was to do a lot of partnering with vet hospitals and whatnot. And that worked really well for us. So here we are, 2021, and we'll do over 4,000 pet cremations this year. We bring in our own urns from India. We do some ordering for, our basic service urns, I should say, come in from India. We do a lot of our other ordering come from Terry Bear. So I'm an open book. Any questions that you have, let me know. But really, let's dive into what everybody else is doing, what works for them, what's not working for them, and how can we all work better at this, because I think we can all agree pet loss is very, very important. They're part of the family, and in a lot of states and in a lot of areas, pet loss is not being handled the right way, and I think we are the best type of people, the best organization, funeral directors to be involved in this. So I guess maybe we just kind of go around this room here. Jody, you're right next door to me on my screen. Maybe we could do some introductions and who we are and what your firm looks like, and we'll go from there.
Hey, thanks. I'm Jody Clock. I think my story is not too far off the beaten path from Rick's, or maybe most of us death care professionals who have gotten it and co-branded it with our funeral home. So my husband owns and operates Clock Funeral Home, which has been a selected member forever, and they're over 130 plus years old, fourth generation. I'm his business partner. We had a therapy dog. Max died, and same story. That was exact as Rick. And somehow I took my little passion into a business, and it's been a beautiful ride for us on many levels. The question that I have for everyone here, and it's a bit of a squirrel, is of the people who are in pet death care on this call, how many outsource their cremations, and how many of you actually own your own pet crematory? That would be insightful to me. I have my own pet crematory. Rick, I know you do, correct?
Correct.
All right, anybody else, or do you outsource it?
I have a pet crematory.
Okay,
We have a pet crematory.
so go ahead.
So Best Friends has separated from French Funerals. So we are in the same building with the cemetery. However, we are a separate LLC at this point. And so French is cremating for us.
Okay.
So we are still in a process of separating from them, but we are still in the same building.
Got it. That was just some useful information for me in terms of one of my wheelhouses and passions is marketing and branding, you know, all of that good stuff, community stuff. And so I think it's good to know on where that status is and what you do. So when you go out and we talk about keeping them all together, is it co-branded or is it separate, and what are you doing? And then if you actually have your own crematory, that makes a difference in the story that you tell.
So just to be clear, Frank, you're outsourcing, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And as I keep going, I know we have Thumbies in the corner. How about you, Pam?
I'm a selected staff person.
Okay, I'm still learning over here. And Starlin?
So I am with, we do not have a pet crematory yet, and we do not have a pet business yet, but we want to start one. We've just acquired 3 new funeral homes, and so we've got to get that all straightened out. And then we're going to start a pet business, but we are probably going to outsource our cremations at first, just because we're getting so many calls for pets. We have an 2 online cremation businesses, and then in all of our brands at our funeral homes, we're getting a ton of requests. And so if we can get up and running quicker and outsource at first and then build a crematory second, then that's probably what we're going to do.
And I want to jump in and say there's no judging on that. My journey started with outsourcing because it is a very expensive cost to entry. And then let's just even talk about the mechanics that go along with the machine. Our machine, we had to totally rebuild this year, which was expensive. And it may not make sense to, you know, many people outsource their humans, you know, so it may make sense to continue to outsource. You know, I'm not here to tell you which is better. It's a math problem.
Well, we want to build a huge new cremation center. It's just a matter of time. Like we can't do it all at the same time. And so we're looking at like just stepping into this progressionally and maybe start outsourcing it at first, just so that we can get up and running quicker.
Well, it also provide the revenue and create the relations. So when you get to that piece, it'll be a natural.
Yeah, we can't keep up with our cremation of human business right now. We have so much. we can't do it fast enough.
Yeah. I can feel your pain on that one.
Kendra,
We
what
just had
about
to
you?
redo our crematories.
Do you have your own Kendra or do you outsource?
No, we don't have pet care, pet death care right now, but looking at possibly doing it.
Okay.
We currently have 3 retorts, 2 of which we don't use. They were built in the 30s. And so they were diesel gas and we disabled those. So I'm looking at getting one of those converted to natural gas and having a hard time. But one of my questions was, they're in the same building. Is that a problem? Do you use the same building?
I'm on mute. I can address that. We started out on the human side. So we have a whole separate facility. Michigan has their own laws. And it's a very large facility. And when we did jump into the pet side and I stepped into the retort aspect of it, we put up a wall. So they are completely separate. Humans are on one side of the building, pets are on the other side. Same way with the processing units and the refrigeration and all of that. And, totally transparent, and it has never been problematic. We use the same staff, which is great because, we can share all of that. So from our intake center, which is at the funeral home itself, all of our employees are pet centric and pet friendly. Same way on the cremation side. We treat pets the same way we treat humans, and it's worked very well for us, and it's been cost effective from that aspect as well.
Kendra, we're completely separate. We're in New York where funeral homes cannot own human crematories, so we have a separate building. However, I've been to 2 places when I was doing research on pet loss. Geibs has a place in Ohio, and Anderson McQueen, they were not selected when I was down there, then came in and now they're out, but theirs were in the same facility as well. And I believe, like Jody, they use the same staff. We have completely different staff for our pet loss. Now that we're, 11, 12 years in, it's grown so much, we just needed more staff. So finding funeral home staff is a completely another Zoom meeting. So we're separate. So anybody else want to answer that?
We are separate in New Mexico also. So humans and pets are in 2 completely different buildings. The crematory operators, they work on both sides, but everything else is completely separated.
Mike, I know you have a place. What do you got?
Well, first of all, is we're only a 50% owner. And so, but our owner, we are the succession plan. So at some point we will become a full owner of the business, and she's the one running it right now. We are in a separate facility, and I can see over time it would be nice to combine the 2. Probably 6 or 7 years ago, we had to move. We've grown so much, we needed to move our preparation, our care facility out of our current building, and we put in a retort, and it would be nice to kind of combine all of that in one. So we're trying to sort out long-term growth, because right now we're spread between our pet business and our care facility and admin and a couple of other locations. We're spread over 6 different buildings. And at some point, and we are for our pet business, it's also really grown, and we are now expanding the space that we have. And so we will be doubling our footprint, and we've ordered a new 5-chamber B&L, which is supposed to arrive sometime before Christmas.
Nice. Dave, tell us about your facility, David.
We're in we're Fox and Weeks Funeral Home in Savannah, Georgia, and I don't think I have a Southern accent either. And anyway, we have our pet building is separate from the funeral home building. That's the Georgia law. They have to be separate, and but it's on the property of the funeral home. And so funeral home staff helps. I manage it and run it primarily, but then other staff helps me as well.
So David, I remember when you guys first got in, you guys were using somebody else's crematory or outsourcing. Did you end up buying your own?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Best we did. Yeah.
Congrats.
And the sales have not doubled, they've quadrupled since then. And I mean, it's unbelievable. In fact, we're looking at possibly putting in another crematory next year.
There you go. So let's hear about some ways that we're all working and how we're attracting pet parents and how we're getting calls. We'll go around again. How is everybody working? Are we working with vets directly and consumers, or just one then the other? Jody?
I'm a little different than the majority of folks, I'd like to think. We are 70% business to consumer. We work with 3 vet clinics, and I can't, one of them I knocked on their door, the other 2 knocked on mine. And we're at capacity. So I'm at a point where either I bring in a 4-chamber unit plus my machine, or we stay where we're at. And so that's something as a business we have to reevaluate. But primarily the business is direct to consumer. It came through being very involved in the community as a pet advocate, being pet friendly at the funeral home. All of our advertising, everything that we do has either our therapy dog or our employees and their pets. I mean, we are that pet friendly place. Something that I'd like to bring up, and it's a little bit of a tangent, but it does speak to your point, Rick, is we just had a community event. And these are the types of things that we have done that help drive business. And we are very married with hospice in our community. And hospice has given us a pet grief and companioning room and all of those things over time. And we do lots of joint mailings and all of that good stuff. But recently we had an event, and the media was very good to us on that. And what it was is, as you know, during COVID, on the human side, many people experienced a death and could not celebrate or even mourn that death, that life lived. There were no funerals held. So we had an event called The Heart Remembers, and we invited anyone who lost a loved one. That could be a person or that could be a pet. And so we sent out, and so did hospice, we sent out letters really for the last 18 months, anyone who lost a loved one. And we didn't want to have a service, if you will, but we wanted a time of reflection, gratitude, and I don't want to say networking, but kind of just dialogue and conversation. And we had that in our funeral home parking lot. It was outside. Dale played the piano. We had activities in terms of chalkboards where people could write. We had pictures. People sent in or texted pictures of their pets, of their loved one, and those were rotating around. And people came, and people brought their animals, and then people talked about their animals. And so at the end of the day, it did a lot of things. It gave people an outlet to talk about something they didn't have the opportunity to do. What it did as a business owner, and with hospice, of course, it was the right thing to do to encourage good behaviors. But the underlying tone that I'm trying to push is a loss is a loss. A pet loss is just as, some of these people, the only thing that got them through COVID was their relationship with their pet, and that pet died. So they're honoring that little guy or girl or bird or whatever. And those are the things that we do that differentiate ourselves. And those are the ways we reach consumers in the B2C venue. So just wanted to put that out there. I encourage you to think about doing that.
Great idea. Frank, how about yourself? I know you're outsourcing, but where does a lot of your relationships come from?
A lot of our relationships are with the families we serve. It's grown ever since we lost a collie about 6 years ago, and he's in our backyard. That's where it really hit home. And we had to use a pet tray, and the state of Ohio wants a separate retort. Can't commingle with humans, I can understand. I've made a freestanding crematory. It's literally a drive-through. I got one guy calls on us for his cremations because he can't back the car up. Took me 2 years to get brave enough to ask him why he was calling on us. Comes out of West Virginia, go figure. I'm in Central Ohio. But pets are very unique. We have a pet urn room. Hadn't gone the full retort. I'm flying right now with 2 adult retorts. Actually found one about 1.5 years ago in a junkyard. Knowing how to rebuild them and all that by previous experience.
You found a retort in a junkyard?
Yes, yes.
That's a conversation all in itself you're going to have to circle back to.
Oh, you bet. Oh, you bet. Rebuilt it, installed it for less than 10 grand. Flies good.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. But word of mouth, people go by our pet urns when they see or visiting in different parts of our building. So that's one of our big things.
Is it Aniko?
Aniko, yeah.
Got it. Tell us about French and your relationships.
So we work with about 25 vet clinics in town, and we are in Albuquerque. We also go out of town to a few vet clinics, to Santa Fe and Edgewood. We work with a clinic in Tucumcari. They're very far, so they actually ship their pets to us. In the state of New Mexico, there are only 2 larger pet cremation places. So we are pretty busy. Most of our business is coming from vet clinics, but we are open for the public, and our retail side, as we call it, it's been busy. And so Best Friends started in 2005, and they never really advertised this side of French. So we did a full rebranding just this past summer, and the very first time we started to advertise Best Friends. I think the ad went out at the beginning of July. We are growing, we are busy, and we are growing out our current place. So we'll be moving to a much bigger facility at the beginning of next year. So.
Great. Well done.
Yeah.
And then how about you, Mike? I know you guys got a good place up there. Tell us about your relationships.
Yeah, it's interesting. We the Pet Heaven crematorium started in 2005, and we bought it in partnership in 2015. And at that point, most of the business came from vets, and predominantly there was a few mobile vets, because you've got the vets with clinics and you've got the mobile vets, and you start to figure out who's what. And of course, one of the mobile vets, within a short period of time, decided to go somewhere else. All of a sudden, within several months of us buying it, so we lost like 1/3 of our business overnight. It's really ugly to see that happen, and it's like, oh man. And so you try to figure these things out, and you move along. One of the things that you also challenges is a lot of the vets in our particular trading area are either franchise or corporate, so they're all locked into who they can go to.
Yep.
So we can't even compete with that.
Yep.
There was also a large pet cremation company come into town, and they bought the Calgary Humane Society, and they bought the contracts for all of these vets. So it kind of blocks us out. So with that, we've just seen the whole market in turmoil over the last 5 years. I would say that about 70% of our business is direct to consumer, We have about 8 to 10 vet clinics that are absolutely loyal to us, and they're the private ones. Since the bigger corporations, we just can't seem to get a foot in. And it's that direct to consumer business that's really gone crazy and where we're doing the most business in all of that. And so that's where we're trying to go. And we're going to keep going. We can see that that'll continue. And the beauty is the marketplace has changed, and it's really, I think that there's a bright future for us. And as much as we've done some marketing for Pet Heaven and that, I think we're just set up in such a really great way right now to be able to continue to grow and expand the business. I don't think it's going to be a ton of work. It will be work, but I think we can just continue to do what we do and focus on the quality of service and all of that. And with our price points, we will continue to be strong, and that direct to consumer part of the business will continue to grow.
Nice. Well done. Way to keep going, rolling with the punches there. How about you, David? What's the majority of your business? Are you working with a lot of vets or not so much? I know we got muted there for a moment. Did he hang up?
No, I couldn't.
All right, we'll keep going. So a lot of things that everybody is talking about, I think probably resonates with a lot of our businesses and whatnot. What Anika was saying, Jody and Mike, Frank, we're in Western New York, so we're in a city called Rochester. And when we first entered in, there was pretty much just like Mike was saying, a conglomerate, if you will. It was a big corporation of about 15 to 20 hospitals, and then there was the guy down the street who had a cemetery who'd been involved for 30 years. And our goal was to come in and educate the vets on what makes us different. I know it's sad to say, but nobody here in our area was using the stainless steel coins, so that was shocking. But it was also one of the main reasons why we're probably successful today is we started educating the community on what made us different. And then vets kind of started to come on from there. So I guess my question to all of you is, how did you make it a no-brainer for vets, or how did you educate the community to show what was different? We came in and, we said, we'll be competitive on price, but we're going to improve services. Instead of these 2-week turnarounds, we're going to make it a 72-hour process, and we'll have software with it. We'll have a better earn. We'll get rid of the tin earns. And these are things that I've heard with other people in other discussions, but what are you guys doing to make this much better for your community? Jody, you're up. You're right next door to me.
All right. I'm going to say that it was an evolution, a process, not an event. I was big on educating to the community, and I was not shy. Shocking, I know. I wanted them to ask their vet clinic, where does their pet go? How is that pet contained? What is it, is it in a plastic bag or is it in a pet body bag? Tell me about that process. Can you walk in and can you go see, and do you know where that's at? So, I was all transparency and teaching, and you were talking about, the little tag or the, identification bracelet or tracking software. The biggest thing that has the two vets that came to us number one was storage. We have a walk-in pet cooler. They have small freezers. So when they had very large pets, we could accommodate them, or we could help them with an in-home removal where they, we made a pretty memory picture for their pet parent. You just didn't wrap the dog up or the cat up in a bag, and that you couldn't do that at home. And so in-home euthanasia has turned into a big business. And so partnering with that is huge. So it's how you pick up that pet, how you transfer it, and how you bring that. So that was one of the big things, how we've partnered, and that set us apart. The other thing was the grief, pet loss, and companioning quotient to that. The vet clinic the ones that were the large one that came to us, it was, that's a procedure to them. And they've got a very upset pet parent, and they don't know themselves how to compartmentalize and deal with the grief of that, and nor do they want to. So, we could be that, well, this is who they are, this is what they do, these are their certifications, and they can get you to that next level. Or, so they knew that it was us, and then they just went back on with their procedures. The pet parent could either choose to pick up their pet at our facility, or we could deliver it back. So on the vet clinic side that did it, on the consumer side that did it, which by doing that, hospice saw that as a natural extension. So it left our facility and it went into the hospice house. Since then, hospice, there's consolidations and all those things going on in their world too. So there's no longer a room, but there is a relationship. And whether it's conversations like we are on Zoom, or we're doing them on the phone, but it's all there. So those are the two things I would say to answer your question.
Anybody else want to jump in on that?
Yeah, I'll speak to that. And Jody, I like what you're doing, and it kind of mimics what we're doing a lot. It's the home euthanasias that are strong, and those mobile vets who do that, they're the ones that like us, because we are set up to accommodate those home removals, and I'll use the funeral home term for that. And so, we're the no-brainer people to use. One of the things that's really happened is with this shifting and changing of all of these pet cremation businesses is it's really helped define us, and it's helped define them. They want to go through the numbers. It's just big numbers for them, and they'll crank them out, and they have their systems, and they're going to get them back to you when they want, and they really don't want to deal with the public. They want to deal with the vets.
Yeah.
And so they're set up for that. And so naturally, we've become the go-to people. We've got a family room where they can go in and spend time with their pet. Every pet, there's the option of witnessing the cremation. They love it. They, once again, the identification with the identification tag, they want to know that that's their pet. They want to feel trust that they're going to get what they're going to get. And they can do that with us, not with the others. And one of the things that we highlight is turnaround service. Almost everything we do is within 24 hours.
Yep.
And families really like that. They're not going to get that from the vet.
Nope.
They're not at all. And, there's a few vets where they're a little bit further out from where we are, that we kind of have a system, and it's usually within, 3 or 4 days. But even then, that's way better than what our competition can do. So once again, it's the service level, it's the facility. And when you talk about these things in with the human funerals, it's and just the quality of care that you're giving to them. And we know how to do that better than the vets or these other companies.
Yep. Anyone else?
When it comes to vet clinics, I think we are picked over the other company in town because the turnaround time is pretty good. Even though we are very busy, we cremate around 600-800 pets in a month, so that's a lot. We still really aim to return the pets to the vet clinics within 2-3 days. We have scheduled pickups from the vet clinics. At the same time, the emergency clinic, one of our biggest partner, if in the middle of the night on Saturday their freezer gets full, they can give us a call and we can go and help them out with a pickup right away. That's huge, I think. When it comes to our retail side, we have arrangement rooms. We have a very nice showroom. Pet parents are surprised that we exist. Again, we really started to advertise ourselves just in July. We have, of course, returning pet parents, but the ones they never even heard of us, they are surprised about their options and the quality of service they receive from us. So we are really proud of that.
Well done. I think a lot of you who are going to be getting into pet loss will kind of see that. And what everybody is sharing here of what we're doing is how we feel it should be done, because that's how it's done on the funeral home side. So when you start to do some research on your ends, you'll see a lot of your competitors are doing things the complete 180 that we're all doing them. And that's where I would encourage all of you to just keep up in the ante and up in your game to provide a better service. How does everybody get this information out? You know, is anyone, you know, taking what they're due, that, you know, whether you have a, you know, 24, we're going to respond within 24 hours, or we'll have your pet back within 3 days. All these little niches that we're doing to improve. How do you get a lot of this information out? Is anybody doing, you know, social media posts or commercials or anything like that?
Again, we started to advertise Best Friends in July. We do have billboards out in town, and we have a very nice new website. Other than that, not much. I think we still more like recommended by pet parents. They recommend us to each other. So
I'm going to jump in if I might. I mean, it's unfair for me to say, you know, this is what you do, because we've been in it for a good 10 or 11 years, and it's become synonymous with clock. Yep. However, if you are on the forefront starting, there is a whole undercurrent of a pet community, whether it's from the no-kill shelters, whether it's from the rescues, whether it's from all of that. And those are the people that you really want to get in front of, because they're the ones that will advertise for you, because they love their pets. They want their pets to be taken care of. So, you know, you can do your Facebook page, of which I do. You can do your website, of which you do. You can co-brand, of which you do. But you really need to go to who are those trusted advisors and influencers are in the community, because that's where the pet parents are going to seek. You know, when the pet is sick, they go to the vet clinic. What do? They go to the dog park. Well, what's there? Well, maybe you should advertise at the dog park, hang your sign, sponsor little poop scoop bags, have a memorial event or something. But those are the places. So you need to seek out to where, you know, your audience is and appeal to those people. That is my thought for those coming. And that's what I did, and it worked really well.
I'll just echo what Jody just said. We're the same way. You know, there's certainly, the pet community is a really unique community, and it's different than everybody else. And we find that there are some pet trade shows. So they'll come up. There's something that comes to Calgary, Petapalooza, and some, you know, you'll find, I don't know, in our trading area, there's probably 5 or 6 of those a year. And all you need is a table there with some urns and a sign and somebody there, and people come by and just gush over how well we took care of them. And it's, you know, everybody else kind of like looks over there and they kind of go, okay, you know, my dog is now 15 and the time is close. So those are the ways to do it. And like you said, the website, the Facebook page, and I think that that's probably where we get most of our business, is the internet and our website, because our guarantees are there and what we do is right there. We're completely transparent. And, you know, we haven't done a ton of advertising, but getting your name out there. And when you Google pet cremation or whatever, you just rise to the top, because you become the premier provider in your market.
Can I ask a question?
Whoops.
So are any of you doing Google advertising, Google business advertising? Has anybody tried that? You are, Rick?
Yep. So we work with
your AdWords.
Yep, we do. We work with Internet Ad Pros, which I'm pretty sure, Patty, they're still a preferred partner, right? Marie Levine? No? Okay, well, I'll skip over that one. So they were at one point, but so they do a lot of my Google AdWords. They're not very expensive. One of the things that I like that they're doing is, so anytime we take care of a pet person, they come to our care, we give their pet back to them. We always have a capture of their phone number or their email, and so they're going to get a direct link of, share your experience. If the experience is great, it automatically, they fill out this form, they kind of build it out for you, but it goes right to the Google reviews and you get your 5-star review. If it's not a good review, and luckily we haven't had any, it does not allow them to go to Google. It just sends us the message directly. So you'll see a lot of our Google reviews are, I think we're like 180 something or 160 something Google reviews. Ultimately, I wish there were hundreds more, but not everybody wants to review your services, but we get a lot of great information of that. The biggest thing I'm hearing right now is, and we've been hearing it for years, but more and more so as Google keeps changing their platforms and what they look for, Google reviews are just the top of what Google picks up and what people are going to see. So even when you're dumping your money into your clickbait ads, your Google reviews really top all of that. So we do spend some money on that per month.
So I've got a question. What clay does everyone use for paw prints?
We've been having a hard time to find clay, so we switched to sand print. It looks like sand print, but it's actually foam. I can send you a link.
Would love one. Love one.
Yeah.
Jody@clockfuneralhome.com. JODI.
We're using these.
I can't see it.
I actually have the company's name here. Hold on for a second.
Clay Paws, the original paw print
I'm
kit.
going to take a picture of it. Hang on. Well,
I got a
So-
phone number for you.
So do you take the prints and then send it to them, or are you doing all of that in-house?
I do it all. I do everything here. If you want, I can run out and bring one in. It takes about 30 seconds.
please do.
Okay.
So this one is looks like it's by veterinarywisdom.com.
Oh.
and
I'm familiar with that. Yes. Okay.
there's a phone number, Clay Paws.
Yep.
And all of our paw print, we do not bake them. We'll put the jewel in if they want. We'll do the name in there, but that's about it. And then as Nico comes back, I know I've heard before in the group about the fur clippings. We just bought these little plastic things for fur clippings with little
Yep,
hearts.
we do Christmas ornaments like that with their name.
Those are very inexpensive.
Yep, we do that.
Are
We
you
just
guys
put ribbon
ready?
on the top and then write their names in the year.
Okay.
It works.
Go ahead, Nico.
So that's when it's done. It looks like that. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
You can put a photo of the pet over there. And this is how you do it. So it's Paw Pals.
Comes in a little case. Is that what we're seeing,
Yes.
Nico?
So there is, so you open it up and that's foam.
Oh,
When you do those little centerpieces, you use those green looking cubes. Starlin is nodding, so she
Yeah,
knows
the
what I'm talking about.
styrofoam looking
So it
stuff,
feels,
yeah.
feels like that. It's pretty easy to do it. Now, if you mess it up and it doesn't look nice, you do have replacement pads.
nice.
I'm not sure if I can take this out, but once you did the impression, you can just close it and it's pretty safe.
Does it crack? How does it dry?
It doesn't dry, it's done.
It's
It doesn't
done.
have to dry.
Yeah, because we're
So if you go to their website, you can see videos and so every case comes with extra little pads for this box. So if you mess it up, you can just replace it. Now, this is not cheap. So of course, it's not as great as the clay. However, it's fast. It comes with a very nice little paper case, so you can have the pet's name and the case number on it. people love it. We charge a little more than for the clay paw print, but you know, it
So is
sells.
so you have it bundled in on, or an add-on?
Yes, yes. We have both options.
Okay.
We have both options.
So then the next question is vet clinic. So you bring a pet, pet's typically frozen. What is your timeline on when you take that paw print? Is it that day, the next day? What's the turnaround time on just getting the paw print? Because I have it out with my pet director on a regular basis because she's in search of that perfect paw print, and I want it done immediately.
So we usually do it on the next day.
Okay.
Or if the pet comes in the morning, the pet stays outside. We don't put the pet into the cooler, and then we can take care of that at the end of the day. And for vet clinics, we don't do this sand print. We do ink print for them, just because these boxes are pretty pricey. So, and
for the
I'm
consumer
afraid,
direct, that's a better.
I'm honestly afraid to offer, since we have so many vet clinics, I'm afraid to offer this option for them, because what if down the line during the winter, you know, COVID hits again because it's coming from China.
Yeah.
Then, you know, 3 months into it, I have to say we don't have it anymore. So for the vet clinics, just because the volume we have, we had to figure out something which we can always offer. So that's why we went with the ink print. But let's circle back to your question. If the frozen pet comes in at the end of the day, then they still go to the cooler and we take care of paw prints on the next day.
Good. So if anybody has any promotional materials that they have that they want to share, you can email Patty and then she'll drop it all out to everybody. Just to piggyback off of Nico, that's a great product. I've never seen that before. That's pretty excellent.
Yeah.
We do inks for everybody. Part of our software that I built about 5 years ago prints ink, and the Rainbow Bridge Pro Net goes out, but the clays and all these things are great little add-ons and whatnot. I know we need to start to turn things over to Dan Beavers. He has a few things that he wants to go through. Any other questions or concerns or people want to get into real quick? Yep, Nico?
Yes, we use an answering service, after hours answering service. This company ASD, they would pick up the calls. And I'm curious if you have a better option than ASD. We've been having pretty serious issues with them.
What type of issues? Because we use ASD for the pet side as well.
I feel like they don't train their people well, so they don't give out accurate information, and we often run into a problem when the pet parent doesn't even know about the transfer fee, the home pickup fee, and they still dispatch the message to the transfer people.
So
we are losing money big time on these type of mistakes.
So two things I've noticed about ASD on the pet side and on the people side is that all of our challenge, I shouldn't say all, the majority of our challenges come on the weekend or over a holiday. It's like they have the B team. And we finally went through and just assigned, if it's a pet and it's after 5 o'clock, here's the pet director, because it was just too much for them to deal with. But what we have found has made our life easier, at least mine, because I'm the one who fields all the pet calls, is ASD is a texting component. Do you have that?
They email us.
Okay, so I have on ASD, if I pull up on my phone, I can have it blinded. So it comes up as the pet funeral number or the funeral home or the crematory number. And instead of calling the person, I can text what I would normally say, and then I can direct them to the website or to whatever. And that has diffused and actually helped everyone on what to do. The only question that it hasn't diffused is, how do I contain my pet till morning? And then, you know, you can either go back and forth on a text or you can call them, but most people are pretty good with that. So, but that's our observation.
So what happens is they make a decision before they inform us, before they send the email to us. So, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
I would be interested, and this is just a question. I'd be interested to see what your marketing material is or what you present to your vets. I think we've done a really good job with the direct to consumer, but I'd be curious if you've got, when you're trying to go out there and sell and bring another vet on, because I think there's opportunities there for us, but I'd just be curious to see how you're approaching that business.
Mike, I can share some things with Patty.
Okay.
We have our presentation folder. I will personally share what's inside of it, which is pretty much our whole pet loss brochure with pricing, some add-ons and whatnot. I have some PowerPoints that we bring in to do lunch and learns with, so I can share those with you. I also just built out a pre-need portal, which we do a lot of Facebook advertising on. If anybody is familiar with Parting Pro, they kind of have a nice little simple cremation plan. I pretty much copied that verbatim for the pet side, so that's right on our website. I'm happy to share all that with you. All those things have been working awesome for us.
And are you getting a lot of pet pre-needs?
We are, and you can actually pay for it online, and it happens a lot. And we do not have to hold it in trust, which I'm sure is going to be our next question.
Absolutely.
I'd love to see that. And I just started a separate trust but I would love to see that.
Sure.
Wow.
Along that line, and I know that this is monopolizing it, but as people are pre-planning their own stuff, there's an organization out there called Animal Care Trust. And a lot of times people, the pet's life shouldn't have to end because theirs does. And so what Animal Care Trust does is it allows them to make a plan for their pet and also pay for that plan. And there's 100 different ways to do it. And you're not involved in the financial side of it. But if your pre-planning expert is sitting there with a family, they could say, oh, I see you have you made a plan? And this is an organization, actually I sit on the board of that, that does it nationally. And it's a great thing. I can shoot some information out to Patty on it.
Fascinating.
I know we got to get over to Dan. Dan, you want to take the lead here?
Absolutely. Thank you, Rick. What you should be seeing in front of you on your screen is our newly launched Pet Business Toolkit. Where this lives on our website, Patty, if you would be so kind as to kind of mouse along here, I'll walk everybody through how they find this when they're on our main page. So you see this tools tab here. We have the selected business solutions. If you're not familiar with this area of the website, I would beg you to become familiar with it. You will need to be signed in to access these, so make sure you're logging in. If you have any difficulties, give us a call. We can help you get logged in lickety split. So down here, you'll see pet business among the various topics that we have available to you. And once we click on that, it's going to carry us through now to this pets landing page. We've begun to house all sorts of things right at the top there. You'll see, thanks to Rick and to Pets at Peace, he mentioned this idea of, hey, start looking into your fellow businesses. What are they offering? What are your opportunities to do things differently than what they do and differentiate yourself in exactly the way that people have been talking about? How can we pleasantly surprise these people who are, if you're not noticing this phrase, pet parents, that is what they consider themselves. We've got a nice PDF of the questions that you can ask when you call up these providers. You can kind of secret shop them a little bit. That is all available here in PDF. Thanks to Rick for sharing that with everybody. We're also starting to house previous session recordings and things like that. And Patty, if you can authorize me to just share my screen too, I can walk through any of this. I know we're getting up against the time just a little bit. as we're waiting for that to happen, I know a lot of you have fantastic materials. You also have fantastic questions. If you would send any of those along, either to myself or to Patty, we would love to be able to capture those things and house them on that web page. Patty, are you able to make me an admin here so that I can screen share? Perfect.
Wow.
Alrighty. Are we seeing the website? It's not giving me the green screen. Are you all seeing the website right now, or are you seeing
Yes,
one of
sir.
my other screens? Okay, thank you. So a little bit further down here, we have a webinar recording from the Foresight companies. They did an entire session around this area of should you be launching one of these businesses, should you not? It's going to be a common question on a lot of people's minds, and there certainly will be things in there that will be helpful if you're already doing one of these. There's always something new, as we've seen today. We've got some new products. We have our previous forum focus recording that took place on February 4th, as well as the meeting notes from that session. There's all kinds of fantastic stuff in there. Selected does offer pet brief brochures right now. We have one for dogs and for cats to let you know. We are going to be shifting gears a little bit there, starting with our next catalog that will be coming out later this month. We're going to offer one unified piece that can be particular to any kind of pet. That was some of the feedback that we got last time, was we don't want to make anyone feel excluded if they've come to us for some other sort of animal that's not a dog or a cat. We don't want them to look at our literature rack and say, oh, well, I guess my kind of pet wasn't worth putting up there. So this is a fantastic piece from Dr. Jason Schroyer. He's a psychologist who specializes in grief. If you're not familiar with his materials, they're fantastic. They're thorough. They focus heavily on this notion that, yes, you absolutely are allowed to feel a profound sense of loss right now because your relationship with your pet was very special. We're excited to be starting to offer that soon. You'll see more of that coming. Here are the additional resources. We're going to start gathering all sorts of things. Our dear friend Jody Clark here on this call, she's available for consulting. If you're interested, she'd love to talk to you more. There are associations that are doing this work. You've heard some mention of Terry Bear as a provider of merchandise. Special thanks to our friends at Thumbies who are generously supporting this particular session. They have some pieces that they would love for you to take a look at. They have chain of custody ID information that has been mentioned as very important stuff. They can help you capture paw prints, nose images with iPhone or Android to help you speed up those turnaround times. We also have other partners who have materials that they've provided as well. But the number one thing that I want you to know about this page is we want your feedback on it. We want it to have whatever you are curious about on here, so that when you are wondering, how can I make a better pet business, you can come right to this page and you can find something that's going to help you out with that. So thanks to everybody who has lent materials and has lent thoughts that have helped us make this page, and for your feedback. And we hope that it will be a valuable resource to you for a long time to come. Any questions about anything that appears?
Oh, everything looks really good. I wish we had some more time to chit chat. I'm sure we could all talk about this for hours. So
Absolutely.
Wow. Good job, Dan.
well, I guess this is it. Patty, we'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I know there's more. We had a long list of questions that we could have covered, and this may mean we need to have a part 3. I'm not sure, but thank you. A special thanks to the folks at Thumbies. Thank you for being on the call and for providing the resources that you did that we already have on not only the pet page that Dan showed you, but we do have an archive for the forum focus. So all of that will also be there for the archives. Thank you, Rick, very much for moderating for us today. Some great stuff. Reminder, if you have any resources, Daniel has been scribing here, and I've written some things down that we will include on the page. But if you have anything else that you'd like to share, like promotional marketing materials, send it to me. I'll get them added to the page for the Forum Focus archive and also for the pet resources. So thank you for in advance if you have anything to share, because that's really what this is all about, is sharing ideas and things with one another. It's what we do here at Selected. Reminder that a little bit later today, you will get a copy of this recording along with a short evaluation. We'd love to hear from you. Perhaps you're interested in being a moderator on a future call. We're always looking for volunteers. And if you would just take a moment to fill that evaluation out, it helps us do a better job of what we're trying to do here. So, and then lastly, make sure you mark your calendar for October 7th. That will be our next conversation. First Thursday of the month is always Forum Focus. We'll be talking about relationships with hospice. And Jody, we might call you back, Jody, for some more conversation about hospice, because I know that's near and dear to your heart. But I have nothing further unless anyone has anything for the good of the order. We'll call it a day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. That was
Thank
great.
Yep.
Thanks again, guys. All right, have a good day. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.